I want the entire pool scrub sterilized and disinfected. There it is. It's no big deal.
Well, you like that one? You guys remember that from Caddyshack years ago? Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to team talk today, and Dr. Andrew is a bigger mouth than me. Right?
Yeah, right.
Come on, Matthew. So he's going to do the chat. All right, sound good? All right, so he's going to scream, and I'm just going to use this. Of course, I'm injured too, so it's hard. So we're Love My Gut. So today we're going to challenge you guys to change and transform your gut. All right, that's what we're all about. So Dr. Andrew, hook us up, man.
So guys, what is the mission of this office? Why are we here? Well, it's to create the new healthcare system, a true healthcare system. We want to empower longer, healthier. That's the goal, is longer and healthier. Right? We don't want to live longer and with drugs and surgeries. Healthier lives through chiropractic care and integration of the 5 essentials. Guys, how do we integrate these essentials? What's the goal? It's not up to me. I don't do it. It's through the removing of interference. Now, you guys were designed for 100% health. We were designed for health. So all we have to do is remove whatever's interfering you from expressing health, true health and potential.
So our goal, guys, is to remove interference. Sound good? So we're going to fix our poop today. All right, so we're going to fix the poop hat, fix everything as it relates to our poop. I love talking poop. Poop is my favorite topic. Okay? So Dr. Andrew, tell us where we are today. Where are we?
You guys tell me that. Where is this country right now in regards to health?
Oh, I like you said that. Good, in the shitter. I like that. Program in the shitter, right?
So out of 37 industrialized countries, because we're not going to compare ourselves to Haiti, where do you think we fall?
35.
37th. We're tied to Serbia. Guess what? We spend 82% of the 82% of the pharmaceuticals are consumed where?
Here.
In this country right here. On average, each American spends $8,000 on healthcare a year. I don't know about you, but I spend essentially zero. So that means there's somebody spending $16,000 in order to make up for that. So obviously drugs and obviously money is not the answers to correcting your health, right? So guys, we got to create this new healthcare model. And this is what being a part of Max Living is all about.
All right, so I got a question for you. Hippocrates, pretty smart dude, yeah? Okay, back 100 million years ago, right when he was around, what did he say? He said, all disease begins in the gut. Now, is that true or is that false? Well, let's figure this out. Okay, autoimmune diseases, gut-related, brain disorders, it's the gut. Cancer, your immune system's in the gut. Fatigue and joint pain, gut. It's all related to the gut. Hippocrates is a pretty smart guy. He also said, look for disease, look to the human spine. Isn't that amazing? I mean, he's like the precursor to chiropractic back in the day. So let's talk about this human digestive system. I'm going to tell you something, it's more than just a tube. It's not just a big tube where stuff comes in and stuff comes out. Okay? But we got steps we got to get through. So step number one, function number one of the gut is digest. So how do we digest? So where does digestion begin? Tell me, roll, hook me out. What's that? Chewing, right? When you chew, these glands make enzymes that start to break down the food. It runs down the tube, your esophagus, and drops into your stomach. Now the stomach, guys, secretes an acid. What type of acid? Go. Hydrochloric acid, gastric acid. Good answer. What that stuff does is it takes proteins and breaks them down to tiny little amino acids. Okay? Now carbohydrates and fats laugh at hydrochloric acid. Ha ha ha, can't touch me. But then it comes around a thing called the duodenal sweep. So it sweeps around, then it picks up the liver enzymes. That's called bile. That emulsifies and breaks down fats. So now the fats become small little guys called fatty acids. Make sense? Then it moves a little bit farther along into the pancreas, which secretes the carbohydrate enzymes, and now the sugars and starches become glucose. So little tiny little guys, then they open up the door and they end up in the small intestine. Right, Dr. Andrew? But the key element in all of this is that it all occurs because of the brain, right? So there's crosstalk between the brain and the gut. So you put food in, well, first of all, the brain goes down here, right? And secretes a hormone called what? Who knows that hormone? Ghrelin. Good job, you guys. You guys have been to seminars before, haven't you? So it makes your stomach secrete the ghrelin. Always better get your stomach to ghrelin, right? That's what I was thinking of. So you get that stimulation, right? Then you grab your food, it drops into the pie hole. Now it drops into the gut, and then the gut makes a phone call back to the brain and says, I got carbohydrates, I got fats, I got proteins, and it secretes the proper amount of enzymes. Make sense? So we got to make sure that connection's happening by removing the interference of subluxation. That's why you're here getting your spine adjusted. Make sense? We'll get into more details on that. All right, Dr. Andrew.
Absorption of nutrients. Who's heard the saying, you are what you eat?
Yeah.
False. You are what you digest and absorb. So digestion absorption happens in the small intestines. So if your digestion and absorption is trash, then what are you? Trash. If you're putting trash in, what are you? And who wants to be trash? Let's become superb beings here.
So function number two is absorption. We've got to digest, now we have to absorb, right? And if any of that's broken down, it's not going to, things are going to break down. Now, who can tell me what the microbiome, well, what's micro mean? Go, Elaine, what's micro? Who said small? I heard it. Good job, Mayor. Small, it means microscopic, small. Now, what's a biome? Right. Now, what it is, it's the environmental bacteria, parasites, all this stuff that's in your gut. Yeast, candida, positive and good and bad, they're all in this microbiome. All right, so that's what's located in there. So I want you to think about a field of flowers. We're highlighting this big flower. Look around, what do you see? More flowers. What else do you see? Some grasses. What else is probably in there? Some dandelions. How about some bindweed? It's all in there. So picture a meadow. In a mountain meadow, as you walk, it's holy crap, that's gorgeous, right? But there's good and bad all over the place. But you want more good than you want bad, all right? My favorite metaphor is farming, right? Now, when they first homesteaded, don't you think the farmers came out and saw this big microbiome of flowers and weeds and things? But they said, we're going to plant wheat. So what they do? They plowed up the soil, right? Killed all the good stuff and the bad stuff. What's the first thing that grows back? The weeds. The weeds. And that's how you get a problem with your gut called dysbiosis, which we'll get in a later time. Okay, makes sense? So you need good bacteria to aid in the secretion of enzymes in the digestion process. It's called symbiosis. It eats a little bit of stuff we give it, and it does a lot of good positive things for us if you have a good, healthy microbiome. Okay, so function number three, we got to make sure your microbiome is doing what it's supposed to. That's how the gut works. Fair enough? All right, next.
So the next one, the gut-brain connection. Now, most of this is happening through my favorite nerve, which is what?
Vagus.
The vagus nerve, which is a direct line of communication from the brain to the gut. Now, guys, your decisions, your mood is based upon this interplay here. So if you are angry, if you're emotional, your brain sends information to the gut which says, slow down digestion. Don't digest food right now. So then we deal with constipation and toxicity. Now there's also taste receptors in our gut, which is pretty cool. These taste receptors are sending information back to the brain saying, we just had sugar, we just had fat, prepare yourself. Or we've been exposed to a toxin. We have some inflammation that's about to take place. So information is sent back to the brain saying, it's time to napalm everything because inflammation is taking place. And then you're dealing with brain fog. So there's constant communication. Now there's more neurons in the gut than there is in the brain. So this constant communication here is driving your behavior, your decisions, your mood. Everything is driven between the gut-brain connection, guys. And what's going to cause a disruption with this connection here?
Subluxation.
Subluxation. Most commonly, subluxation right here. The atlas is affecting down here in the gut. Everything is connected.
All right, next thing we got to deal with, the gut and the immunity. Because what did we say? Or we were going to say, 70% of your immune system is located in the gut. So if you're concerned about immune function, which we tend to be all through 2020 and part of 2021, and everybody seems like it's a big deal, it's all gone. How about if we just make our body more healthy by enhancing this gut immune connection? See, over 70% of the gut is housed, or of the immune system is housed in the gut. So we've got to enhance these. So all of these things are all the functions that have to be optimized in order for you to have that epic life. Does that make sense to everybody? We want you guys to have that stellar epic life. But what occurs is interference to that flow, and the gut, if the gut doesn't work right, you ain't happy. You heard your mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy? That's where your gut is, right? That's what Hippocrates said. So Dr. Andrew, fill us in on dysbiosis. Explain what that means.
Let's go back to the word microbiome. What's the biome? Living sphere of the environment. So biosis, dysfunction. It's a dysfunctional environment. It's like we all have our sides of the family. We have the one family that we want to be around, then we have the other side that is completely dysfunctional, and we're like, what's going on here? We need to get away from them. That is a dysfunctional relationship. It's when there's more weeds than flowers. So if you have a beautiful meadow, as Dr. Ray was explaining, and then you kill everything on there, spray with Roundup. We're going to get too soon. What's going to grow back first? The weeds.
All right, guys. So here's some examples of where dysbiosis has been proven to be a science fact in pathology. High blood pressure, hypertension. What they found is when these two particular bacteria, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, okay? These guys, when they're in perfect balance, guess what? Your blood pressure is low. So if one overgrows or one goes too low, you end up with high blood pressure. So ask yourself a simple question. Should we fix the gut and fix your high blood pressure permanently, or should you take blood pressure medication, lisinopril, for the rest of your life? What do you guys think? Fix the gut, right? It makes logical sense, but that's not the way we are. We look to treat, we look to treat, we look to treat. That's not it. Let's remove the interference and let this thing do what it was meant to do. That's what it's all about. Talk about this one, Dr. Andrew.
So this right here, this research study showed that if you have a functional gut microflora, so microbiome, you have more favorable outcome from colon cancer. So if we can increase the diversity within your gut, you're going to get better results with colon cancer, maybe even reversing it. Now there's an interesting group of people, it's the African Bushman people. Now this group of people, they have no colon cancer at all, no degenerative diseases, and what they found with comparing them to us is they have a high biodiversity within their gut. So if we can increase the biodiversity, then you're going to have health, which equates to no colon cancer. So what's causing it, guys? Poor diet. If you're putting junk in, what are you going to get out?
Junk.
What are you going to feed? The junk bacteria. High stress. When you're stressed, it's going to open up the gut lining. And then toxins. Once again, putting junk in. Now have you guys heard of this? A fecal matter transplant. Who's heard of this?
So explain it for me.
My dad said that they've done it because
What is it though? first.
where they actually take some of the biome from someone's gut and transplant it to somebody else's gut.
Now, how do they get that stuff? How do they get it? How do they harvest it? Come on, fill us in. It's gross, it's disgusting. Okay? The healthy people go, right, and fill up the toilet. They harvest that, and they take that and put it inside of our butthole.
What they do is they take it, they spin it, they take out what they want from it. They're not just putting fecal matter in.
Come on, it sounds more fun the way I describe it, doesn't
But
it?
then they're going in and they'll spray it so it sticks to the gut walls. And guys, this stuff has been shown to help out with obesity. It's been shown to help out with reversing Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. It took I think they took mice. They took an obese mouse. They then took its fecal matter, put it into a healthy mouse, and that mouse became obese from it. Does anybody know how much this cost though? About $20,000 for one treatment. So let's just fix the gut. Like, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, how about if you become the one that donates, right? You know what I'm saying? So how do you do that? Everything we're going to learn today. How about we save you 20 grand today? Would that be okay? You okay with saving 20 grand? Just getting your body healthy? Makes logical sense, doesn't it?
How much will they pay me for my poop?
For sale. Put it on the internet. See what happens. Right. So let's talk about standard allopathic medicine. Okay, your medical doctor. What are they going to do? They bomb the city. What do they use to kill bacteria? Antibiotics, right? So think about what they're doing. They're the intelligence, the insanity of what they're trying to do. They take this drug and they put it in the body and it destroys the entire microbiome, good and bad. Now, if you have a biodiverse that's more leaning towards the weeds and you take an antibiotic, you're going to feel what? No, you'll feel better temporarily, right? Because you killed everything. Now, remember when you plow the field? Right? Let's say you have a field full of weeds. You plow it, you kill everything. Well, that feels so much better. And then what's the first thing that grows back? Weeds. Except these weeds are stronger. Because as we put more and more stronger and stronger antibiotics, you get antibiotic-resistant bacteria, and next thing you know, you've got a nightmare on your hands. So what makes more sense, guys? Do we bomb the city and hope for the best, or should we remove the interference? What do you think sounds better to you? Remove the interference, and then Patrick can sell his poop on the internet.
So guys, for years, all the research when it came to the digestive system was on stomach ulcers. I wasn't around in the 80s, but I heard it was a big deal. And they actually identified the agent to be H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori. The funny thing is as you start bombing what we think to be a bad guy, because what happens is you have H. pylori is meant to be in your system, in the right place. It's not meant to be in your stomach. That's when stomach ulcers take place. But if we're killing everything, even the H. pylori that's meant to be in an area of your small intestine, then you become more likely for diabetes and autoimmune. We need the good guys, we need the bad guys, as long as they are in the right places, in the balance.
Right, it makes perfect sense. Guys, it's insanity to me to think that we don't understand this as a culture. But we, meaning this group, our office, we need to spread this message of health, right? Not just masking and treatment, but the optimization of the human experience so you can have a great life, but people you love and care about can equally have that epic life. Does that make sense? I mean, well, that's what it's all about. So, the end game, interference leads to inflammation. Now, is inflammation always a bad thing, yes or no?
No.
No. That inflammation is part of our defense mechanism. If you get a boo-boo, like I got one that's healed up nicely since my dog decided we were wrestling and he got me with his tooth.
You also have one here.
Oh, I got me a boo-boo up here. This is when I got hit. This is all fully glass and cuts and bruises. Looks better, doesn't it, since my injury? I'm actually doing pretty good, yeah? I'm running a little short on wind. That's why we did the double team, but he does a better job than me anyway. But the whole idea is inflammation was in here. So inflammation is like think about it like a war zone, right? It's dropping bombs and the immune system the tanks, the mortar fire, and it's killing everything and damaging the tissues locally. The problem is when the body thinks you're the infection. That's systemic inflammation. And systemic inflammation stems from something called leaky gut. All right, so team, Sammy, my team, I need to team assemble. Team assemble. Grab
Who's
the
team
team.
assemble?
Grab the team assemble. Remember that, what's that movie? Come on, what is it called, Andrew? Anchorman. Anchorman, right? Remember Anchorman?
Yeah.
Where he goes, what are they called? News team assemble. Yeah? All right, so we're gonna do a little skit for you guys, okay? So it's gonna be cool. All right, are you ready? All right, so my gut lining, hook up. Get my gut lining, gotta hook up. This is my gut lining right here. So this is a gut cell, this is a gut cell, this is a gut cell. This is how stuff gets through, but see the doors are locked. You see the doors locked up there? Okay, it's supposed to be like that. Then what happens, our good guy, okay, this is our good guy. We give a round of applause for the good guy. The good guy, Dr. David, okay? Now what is he? Well, he's digestive material, right? He is a glucose molecule. He's a fatty acid. He's an amino acid. He's very, very tiny, okay? See, look, he's getting bigger though, yeah? What else is included here? We've also got, okay, now what else is included in here? We got trace minerals. Very, very tiny things, right? So if this guy comes in and he taps on the door, guess what they're going to do? Oh, looky there. David gets it. Every round of applause for David. He made it in. All right, close out. Come on, you got to close out. Don't let the bad guys in. Okay, but here's what happens. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, here comes our evil one, right? This is our give you a smooth. All right? It's not really Jackie. Okay, so what is this? These are toxic elements, right? These are unhealthy bacteria. This is bad food. This is gummy worms. This is shot of tequila last night, or whatever it might be. This stuff is not so good for us. Artificial sweeteners, that type of stuff. So what happens? They come around the gut, but instead of they tap them on the shoulder, and what's the gut say? We're not letting you in. Okay? But what does she do? Because she's toxic and parasitic and nasty, she busts through. There she goes, boom, and she busts through. Now what occurs? The immune system, okay, now let's back up. Come on forward.
I was like, wait.
Everybody open up. Okay, doors open up, come back out. Okay, so here's now. Right now, we got to come on forward. Come on, get out of the way. Out of the way. Okay, so come on forward, both you two. Okay, so this is our cough. Okay, who's the cough? That's the immune system, right? And what are they going to do? Have to pat him down. She said she wasn't going to do this, but she wasn't going to
do anything else.
And then check him out. Okay, now, is this an okay dude?
Yes.
All right, go. He's a round of applause for Dave, the good guy. If he goes away, he becomes what? He becomes our eyeballs, our nose balls, he becomes our chest, our other balls, baby balls, whatever balls, right? He becomes all those things. He becomes poop, okay? Right? That's what happens. Now, Jackie busts through, okay? So she busts through, the immune system pats her down. Now what happens here? Gives her handcuffs and hauls her off to jail.
Get out of here.
Does that make sense to everybody? Now the problem is, if there's too many bad guys and not enough good guys, what starts to happen is we start creating in and out, and the gut never seals up. Are you with me? Now, if the gut doesn't seal up, then a big old fat guy comes in, undigested food material walks through, it becomes a food allergy, it becomes a toxin, because now the immune system gets confused and starts attacking itself. You see?
You talk yourself.
That's good. Okay, guys, give my team a round of applause. So that is leaky gut. Everybody kind of got that? It's not that complicated. It actually is very, very simple if you understand it. Now, Dr. Ant, so there's direct symptoms of leaky gut, and then there's things away from the spine, away from it as well. So let's talk about that, Dr. Andrew.
So gut symptoms, upset stomach, unintentional weight changes, whether that be losing weight, gaining weight, not able to lose weight, sleep problems, fatigue, food sensitivity, bloating, skin problems due to the leaky gut phenomenon, digestive issues, and what is the number one symptom?
Diarrhea.
It's actually not a symptom that's related to the gut at all. It's going to be stuff like headaches, neck pain, back pain, low back pain, joint pain, whatever that might be, is related back to gut.
Do you guys get that? Okay, I got no gut symptoms at all, but I developed diabetes. I have no gut symptoms at all, and I have habitual migraine headaches. I have no back pain, I have no gut symptoms at all, and my knees ache every day. Do you see? But it's gut caused, but there's no gut symptoms. So how do you know if you got a gut problem? Dr. Andrew?
Test.
You have to run testing.
Test.
All right, makes sense? So the bottom line is this leaky gut leads to systemic inflammation because of the autoimmunity. Dr. Amanda beating herself up back here, and that leads us down the path of disease in the end game of disease. So things like Crohn's disease, irritable bowel, celiac disease, even colon cancer, right? But it's beyond that. Things like chronic fatigue, diabetes, lupus, fibromyalgia, arthritis, allergies, asthma, acne, obesity, mental illness. All of these things are tied to gut, right? So literally, any symptom you might be experiencing could be gut related. And how do you know? I don't know, let's just guess. How about we test? Does that make sense to everybody? So that's the concept, all right? So there's a special type of gut thing called SIBO. Fill me in, Dr. Andrew.
Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So you have your stomach. Your stomach has what in it? Well, it has
The actual stomach.
hydrochloric acid, which does what? When the bad guys get in there, it kills them. But if we have low stomach acid, then it's not killing them, and then it enters the small intestines. Now, remember, we have, in the small intestines, there's not bacteria in there, like there is in the colon. So all of a sudden, you're starting to populate the small intestines with junk, with bacteria that's not supposed to be there. Then at the same time, as you start damaging that, having junk within the small intestines, stuff from the colon is then traveling up into the small intestines as well. And this is the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. The most common ones are E. coli, which we always think of E. coli to be a bad thing, but only if it's in the small intestines and bacteria. And what are the symptoms of it? Same things we discussed before. Except with this one, we are going to get serotonin problems. Because your body's not going to create the serotonin. And what does serotonin do? Makes you feel good, it makes you sleep good, and it's produced within the gut.
So what makes more sense? Removing the interference to the gut, fixing the gut, leaky gut, fixing the SIBO, or taking antidepressant medications for the rest of your life. And there's more people on antidepressant medication right now than ever in the history of our country. So let's go to the doctor and get the drugs, or come here and get the solutions. You see? Let's make sense of this, guys. All right. So I guess the question is, there's a lot of crap. Is it possible to get better? Yeah, you got to remove the interference. It's that simple, isn't it? Okay. So let me talk about this. And we've seen it in different formats, but this is a unique way. What is our goal? Guys, what's our goal? Perfect 10 in life, right? Over here, 100% vitality, optimum health. You're able to do the things you love for the rest of your life, whatever that might be. Maybe it's just sitting and reading a book. Maybe it's climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. It doesn't make any difference to me because it's unique to each individual sitting in this office. But that is my vision for humanity, is to make sure every person can express health in the way they were intended for the rest of their lives. So they don't have to think about the things on this end. So over on the other hand, we're limited in no function, on the edge of death. I mean, literally, that's where people are, a lot of people. You know, when I was in the hospital in intensive care, I was basically an annoyance. I think they threw me out because they got tired of me bothering everybody. Because when I was sitting in the ICU, they wouldn't let me out of my bed. It was driving me freaking crazy. And finally, the OT and the PT showed up. They showed up with a wheelchair, a walker, and a cane, right? And they said, "You ready to get out of bed?" I said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I swung around, stood up, and they go, wait, take your time. Do you want a cane, a crutch, or a walker? I went, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "Let's go for a walk." And we went for a walk. And they ultimately said, "Stop, you got to at least put on this strap thing," so they could each grab me in case I fell. right? And so we did 5 laps around the ICU, and finally they said, okay, good, you're okay. I don't think you have a fault. So I cut the fall risk off my hand. They made me get back into bed for a bit. Then I said, the big question, how many laps can I do a day? And she said, as many as you like. So historically, what was happening is the doctors were coming in looking for me. They couldn't find me because I was doing laps around the ICU. Okay? And I refused to wear their stupid gown, so I wore normal clothes. And I was sitting in bed. I had my feet up on the bed in a chair, and I was flipping through my phone, reading stuff. And they go, "When's the patient getting back?" I'm him. And they they walked in literally. This is a compromise. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I got a compromise. This is a heart monitor for 30 days. Okay? The cardiologist walked in on a limited thing. I got a biomedy heartbeat. My heart got compressed along with my broken ribs and everything else, so my heartbeat was a little weird. The cardiologist walked in and goes, "Well, we're going to do an ablation and cut your heart nerves, and we're going to give you beta blockers for the rest of your life." I said, "I hope we pump the brakes a little bit here, guys. My heart got compressed at what, 50,000 times normal compression, and my heart's freaking out a little bit here. Let's just wait and watch the cool thing happen called healing." And every doctor that came in, I always start out the conversation, "Look, I'm not trying to be an asshole. Really, I'm not. But here's." So I think they finally just said, "You know what? We got to get this guy out of here before he ruins everything." I went and visited the neighbors. Yeah, here's my car. So anyway, but again, why was I able to do that when the doctor came and said, "Why are you still alive?" Because of the impact, the way it happened, where it hit. I was supposed to be done. Well, the good Lord said, "You're not done mouthing off yet." So you got to go back and hit it again. But here I am, still causing trouble. So thank you. So much more. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I don't care if you're at 0.5. It doesn't matter because we're going over there to 10. I don't care if you're expressing diseases. We're going to 10. I don't care if it's feeling great and not healthy. Our goal is to get you to 100% health. And how do we know that, Dr. Andrew? Because we do what? We test, right? We do programs to remove interference to your brain that says, I got to do drugs. I got to do unhealthy things to my body. We got to start changing by this is the testing, right? We got to pour in that. And how do we know if your spine and nervous system are optimized? Before and after x-rays, right? So we know they're perfectly aligned. How do we know if you're doing the right kind of fitness? We know the HIIT training, that's essential number 4, is the one that does it. But how do we know if your nutrition's right and if your toxic levels are acceptable range? Because we can't remove all of them, can we? You go outside and take a deep breath, you just took in some garbage, right? So how do we know that? Again, we didn't have a very good program. But that's what this program is the kickoff for, the metabolomics program, which we're going to get into details on. That's the nutrition and the detoxification. And so we know because everything on essential 1, which is mindset, 2, nervous system, 3, nutrition, 4, fitness, and 5, detox, is all clear. I can declare you 100% vital. And then you get to go do whatever you want. You can survive a stupid car accident. But more than that, I'm thriving as a consequence of that. Because I've learned a few lessons too. Because I was too stressed out, and that's why I ran that red light on T-bone. It was my fault, 100%. But because I wasn't thinking, my mindset was wrong, I got in that accident. You see, none of us are perfect.
I want to highlight something about this. So Dr. Ray was right here at this level. The car accident did what? Sent him back over here. Now this is why we have to get as healthy as possible. You don't know what's going to happen throughout your life. Imagine if you're living at this level right here. Get into that same car accident, what happens? You're going to be over at that level there. You guys see why it's important to take charge of your health now? Let's go to the next slide. It's going to make more sense. So guys, let's talk about the 5 essentials in a non-medical metaphor here. So I want you to picture that you want to build wealth. You want to become one of the richest people you know. So what do? You work hard, you save, you develop a good work ethic, and then you watch the money pile up. But then you start running credit card debt up. You're not paying that credit card debt off. And what happens? Bankruptcy. You guys see this? So you have worked your whole life off to live in bankruptcy. How many of us are putting our health on credit? Where we're getting our adjustments, but we're not doing the other 4 essentials. Or we're getting our exercise in, but we're not doing the other 3. We're not focusing on managing our stress. Whatever that might be, we're waiting, putting stuff on credit until something manifests, and we're like, how did this happen to us? This is why there's 5 essential approach, guys, and it's all about the strength within each essential. We cannot neglect a single one of those.
So when you guys came in, I hope that you guys, in your packet, you've got a QR reader for your phone, all right? So this is getting into the testing. We're going to kind of hint to it a little bit. We'll detail that in the end. But you're going to fill out a questionnaire. Guys, it's comprehensive. And it's on nutrition and detox, but it also hits the other 4 essentials. So we get an overall score of your health, all right? And find out where you are on that vitality spectrum, all right? So you do that. You also have in your packet a 7-day food log. 7-day food logs are very easy. If it passes your lips, you write it down. If it passes your lips, you write it down. Make sense? And you write it down for 7 days. Now, finish the questionnaire. So there's about 50 of you in the audience today. I should see by Monday morning 50 questionnaires on my email. It's electronic. Question, answer, submit. It shows it in my email box. Then you're going to get 7 days later, you're going to do your diet log. Then I'm going to receive that. Okay? And then we're going to have a consultation. We're going to sit down and review that data and begin initiating something, a unique protocol based upon your body. But then the second part, or the third part, excuse me, is that metabolomics part, which we're not going to get just yet, but it's coming up. Okay? So step number 1, we got to get you healing. That's how we're going to do it. So we can live well, to assess your risk test, we can discover where your score is. That's the whole idea. We're trying to score this whole thing. Okay? So the next step, Dr. Andrew, is
we're going to what? Identify the cause. What are you missing right now in your life that you can then bring into it? We're going to address the interference. What do you need to remove from your life? What's interfering from you expressing your true God-given health potential? And next, we're going to restore the vitality. So guys, the number 1 problem is poor nutrition. Go to the next slide. So I want you to think of my son Oakland. He was born, Samantha did everything right. 5 essentials to a T. She's even more on board with the 5 essentials than I am sometimes. So advanced plan 100% of the time. Exercise, adjustments. Oakland's born. What's Oakland consuming? Advanced plan grass-fed milk from Samantha. Is Oakland ever going to have sugar in his life? Yes. Not in my house, he's not. Is he ever going to have the fast food that I consume? Not on my watch. So he's going to be healthy. But what's the typical approach? A child is born. I actually watched my baby video, and within hours of me being born, they were feeding me sugar water out of a bottle. I didn't know that breast milk wasn't good enough for me. So they're consuming crappy foods that does what? It then disrupts this. So you take something that's perfect. When a baby is born, we hold that baby and we say, look at this miracle of life. And then what do? We mess that miracle up. We interfere with that miracle.
And that's it. The key is interference, isn't it? Interference of man. Okay? So the top 5 things we have to work on avoiding. Number 1 is artificial sweeteners. Okay? Artificial sweeteners. The yellow stuff, the blue stuff, and the pink stuff. Okay? The sucralose, right? Which is the chlorinated sugar. That's what it is. It was actually built as an insecticide. You guys didn't know that. So they developed as an insecticide. The ants would eat it, or the bugs, and that poison would kill them and they would die. Well, they thought, well, if it works good for animals or for bugs, maybe we should give it to humans. They said, oh, but it's such a small amount. Oh, I'm sorry, but guess how many foods right now that are sugar-free that are laden with this stuff? Okay? Almost all of them. Sucralose is taken over. And the problem is that chlorinated sugar won't dissociate, so it ends up crossing your brain, causes brain death. So it's pretty nasty
I
stuff.
thought Splenda was a chlorinated sugar.
That is Splenda. Splenda, sucralose is another name, is the fancy chemical name for it. So sucralose and Splenda are the same thing, and they're the ones that come in the yellow package, okay? The other one is the blue stuff, that's the aspartame. Now aspartame, when it gets in the body, interacts, it creates formaldehyde, okay? Now, this is about, oh gosh, probably 33 years ago. My very first in practice, I had a patient come in and she goes, "They heard about this new stuff, this Equal?" She said, "Yeah, don't touch it. Don't do anything with it." And I said, "Why?" So my uncle is the #1 researcher on this. They submitted all their data, which said this is some dangerous crap. And they said, "We don't care. We want it on the market. We need it out there to make more money and more profits."
Who knows who Donald Rumsfeld is?
Yeah.
So he
Tell them
was,
fill them in, doctor.
I think he was Department of Justice, the Defense during September 11th and the first war in Afghanistan. He was actually ahead in the late 80s of the agency that was allowing Equal to come onto the market. Even though there was research that was saying that it causes brain cancer. What did Donald Rumsfeld die from? Brain cancer.
Kind of tough payback there. So it's sad.
So
Yes, ma'am.
what's the sweet low? Isn't that even worse than both of those?
Now, Sweet and Low, which is the pink stuff,
Uh-huh.
all right, which nobody really knows about because it really tastes pretty crappy. It was the one they only had at the time. And it's the same thing. And again, all the data on that they claimed that was causing cancers and diabetes and all these different things. All the people who were selling it said, "Yeah, that was a ridiculous amounts of dosing." Well, it is ridiculous amounts of dosing because we're doing it over life and it's lifetime toxic load. And they don't think about it like that. Oh, you drink one soda pop with NutraSweet in it, is it going to kill you? No. But how many soda pops you going to drink in a lifetime? And that toxic stuff doesn't come out of the gut. It integrates into our bodies and becomes part of us, mostly in the fat cells. Then we wonder why we can't lose any weight because the body's not going to mobilize that stuff into the bloodstream and risk killing you. So it just builds up and builds up and builds up. And that's why we have to test. Okay? Number 2, Dr. Andrew.
Sugars. But not only sugars, things that turn into sugars. So that's going to be your pastas, your grains. Yeah, but I'm eating Ezekiel grain bread. That might be a better option, but it's still being converted into sugar and damaging the gut. So everything that converts into sugars, guys, every grain, whether that be your healthy grains. Yeah, but I only consume quinoa and amaranth and farro. That's still being converted into sugars.
Right? Conventional question. Oh.
So that, how do you know? Anyway, is that including rice?
What is rice?
So
Absolutely.
like, yeah, okay.
Pasta,
So even though
rice,
it's gluten,
grains.
gluten-free,
It
it's
still has
still a grain.
Yeah, so when it comes to gluten-free, that's a protein underneath the family of glycans. Gluten is only one of those proteins. For example, you can find gluten-free steel-cut oats. I have my oatmeal every day.
Right.
Well, the protein still mimics the gluten because it's still a glycan type of protein.
And gluten is one of the most dangerous, the Jackie scenario where she busted through the gut. The #1 cause of leaky gut is gluten. That's why you have all that. And then all the autoimmune related conditions related to gluten intolerance.
And then corn, though, is right up there too,
Now,
right?
corn is a GMO, which is not really, it's a GMO, genetically modified organism, and it's also sugar. It's not really a vegetable.
And yet, tons of gluten-free products are made with corn instead, which is worse for you.
It also has the same effect where it's mimicking the gluten. Whether it's gluten-free or not, it's still mimicking it.
But there's just no grain. There's just no grain.
Just don't eat grain. It's very simple. We'll
Like
talk about that
milk,
on the phone. I promise we're getting
There's
ahead.
no
You're
substitute.
asking great questions. No, you ask good questions, but then we're going to get it.
Okay.
Now, conventional meats. When we say conventional meats, what are we talking about? Processed meats. Well, Dr. Ray, I just eat cows. Well, the cows are fed what? Grain. What's on the grain? The pesticides and the herbicides. And what is grain? Oh, grains is sugar. And so what you're doing is that you're eating a sugar, pesticide-laden cow. And then that cow is sick, so what are they going to give him? Antibiotics, right? And then if it's not fat enough, so we're going to give him estrogen, right? Which is going to make him fatter, which creates estrogen dominance, and that impacts our world. And that's just the cows. What about the chickens? What about the fish? What about all those other things? So stay away from conventionally grown any animal product. Grass-fed beef, free-range chickens and eggs, and fish from cold water sources, Alaska. Why? Because toxins accumulate in the warm waters. And those poor fish are eating the algae and the other smaller fishes, and it's called toxic bioaccumulation. Okay?
Damaged or altered fats. Question, guys. If I had a gun to my head and they said you either have to have a tablespoon of sugar or a tablespoon of canola oil, which one am I going to choose? No, I'm going to choose the sugar because I can consume the sugar and do 20 squats and burn it off. Even though I'm not going to consume sugar in the long run, I'm not going to consume the damaged fats because your cell membrane, the outside of your cells, is made from fats. So if I am what I eat and what I digest, and I'm consuming damaged fats, I have a damaged cell membrane that's going to then create inflammation. It's going to allow things in and out of the cells that I do not want coming out. It's hard to, you can't burn off those damaged fats. It's going to become who you are as a human. So then if you're consuming the damaged fats, which then become inflammation, and inflammation leads to what? We discussed this earlier, leaky gut. If you have damaged cells, you're going to have leaky gut. So we need to stay away from these damaged fats. Soybean, peanut oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil. We have to stay away from those fats.
Okay? Alcohol. Now, alcohol is what? What is alcohol? Sugar. So it's very simple, right? We just talked about sugars are bad. Now it's the same answer for alcohol, all right? Now, is everybody, we're going to be perfect and avoid all alcohol, all sugars, all damaged fats? No, it's around us. So these things are going to hit us, but you've got to do your best to maximize yourself on 5 essentials so you can express vitality, express that option.
So I have a quick question on that. So,
damn, girl!
so if you were at a party and you really just couldn't not have a drink, what would be your least of the evils? Like
Very simple.
vodka tonic or a glass of wine?
Triple distilled vodka is your best choice.
Okay.
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 Your gluten-free beers, okay, and your red wines.
Okay. And they have the least amount of sugar.
So this is going to go back to the importance of testing because kombucha, for example, is a yeast culture. Wine is grown in a yeast culture. Beer is grown in a yeast culture. So if we get a test result and it comes back and it shows you have yeast or fungal overgrowth, then we cannot consume the wine, the kombucha, and the beer because that's just going to feed that overgrowth.
So then you do the vodka tonic instead, you see?
So triple distilled vodka, you said?
Just the triple distilled vodka.
Is that a special brand or where?
Actually, and Dan Aykroyd makes it, okay? And it's a, it comes in a, you know, the
I knew you'd know.
Remember the Crystal Skull? Remember that movie? It comes in a crystal skull.
And where are you getting it?
The liquor store.
And you always want to find organic liquor too as well.
I mean, just follow the rules. You know, you go be organic where you can. Avoid the gluten, you know, but then again, but it all ties back to the same thing. If we find that there's some direct correlation between vodka and what we find in the testing, we'll direct you and ask those questions. You know, be legitimate with yourself. You're going to have a glass of red wine potentially. You may have a vodka tonic occasionally. That's the point. That's life, isn't it? But you can't be doing so much of it that you're going to end up imbalancing those 5 essentials.
What about spiked seltzers? Are those terrible?
If you get organic ones, it's the same thing underneath those categories.
Okay.
Distilled liquors.
Okay, Dr. Andrew, you're up.
All right, so guys, we have to choose the right eating plan for us. We have 2 eating plans in this office, but they all have the same foundational principles. Food by God or food by science? Which one do you want to consume?
Yeah.
Food by God.
Now hold on, before you run off, give me some examples of food by God. Go.
Raw vegetables.
Perfect. Give me another one, Mike.
Grass-fed cow.
Grass-fed cow. Give me another one. Olga. No say. Okay. What do you think? Food by God. Right? Things that aren't touched by man. Right? How about your garden vegetables? Something you actually made. Right? Then you know it's coming in organic. Now give me some food by science. Go.
Foods.
Chips, Jello, soda pop, Twinkies, Skittles, gummy worms. What is a gummy worm? Who knows? But you see what I'm saying? But you get what I'm saying? It's pretty obvious. Oh, this is food by God. This is food by man. And we talk about that. How do we know if something's organic with a label on it? How do we know if it's organic or not?
9.
For 9. 9 is fine. Okay? Number 8s are genetically modified. So you see a banana and a banana, right? Which one's 8, which one's a 9? They look the same, but they're different by the way they've been manipulated by man's hands. Back to
Think about facing your way.
Right.
So think about the digestive system, guys. You are what? Chewing your food first. So if you're consuming processed food, it's already pre-chewed. So you're bypassing this level here and it's getting down here and your body's like, what the heck is this? Unprocessed foods, you're chewing them. creating salivary amylase, sending information back to your brain saying, this is what we just consumed, get prepped and ready for it. Does that make sense? Next one, guys, skip the sugars and alternatives, so I need to highlight that anymore. And then count the toxins, not the calories. Do I count my calories? Absolutely. I'm counting the toxins that I'm putting in my body. I'm minimizing those to the nth degree every single meal I consume.
All right, go ahead. You're up.
So guys, the core plan. Does everybody know the difference between these two? No worries, I'm gonna highlight them. So many healthy fats. Where's some healthy fats? Go. Avocado.
Organic butter.
Organic butter, grass-fed.
Olive oil.
Olive oil.
Nuts.
Olive oil or olives. You got raw nuts and seeds,
Coconut oil.
coconut oil, and coconuts. And then healthy animal fats as well. We're going to full fat dairy. Why full fat? So food by God or food by man. So you have the full fat cows that haven't been denatured, pulling the fat out, adding sugar like skim them. So you have the full fat. Now we're looking for grass fed. If you can find raw, even better. What's up from A2 cows? Now A2 cows are a certain allele that they found that they have a genetic predisposition that their milk actually mimics close to human milk. So it's not as inflammatory for us. We're looking for the A2 grass-fed, full-fat milks and dairies. Naturally raised animal proteins, whole grains and ancient grains. Now this is when the grains come into question. On the core plan, you are allowed grains. We're looking for the whole ancient grains because if you look at the grains they talked about in the Bible, they grew to be like this tall and they're all bushy. Now what do grains look like? They're like this tall. They're all genetically modified. So we want the ancient grains. We also want grains that are sprouted. So if you're purchasing grains on the core plan, you want to first soak them. That then creates a sprouting effect where the cell wall that creates inflammation is being broken, so it's more easily digested. Then we're going to look for our variety of fruits and vegetables. We can have any fruit, any vegetable we would want. And
As long as it's organic.
As long as it's organic, absolutely. And then the plant-based carbohydrates. So that's going to be your sweet potatoes, your winter squashes, your beets, your rutabagas, those types of root vegetables usually.
Then you got the advanced plant. Now, advanced plant eating, you're not adding any grains and only low sugar fruits and berries. Okay, so most of your berries qualify for that. Your Granny Smith apples and your grapefruits. Okay, so they're very low in sugar. All right. So how do you know which one should I do? Should I do this one or that one? Well, if you do the questionnaire in your food diary, it will tell us exactly which one's best. But as a general rule of thumb, if you're expressing a symptom of any type or a disease of any type, you should be on advanced eating. Okay. If you are feeling great, feeling fabulous, there's no symptoms, no diseases, core eating.
You can hamstring tightness, for example. That's a symptom.
All right. So how many of you think you should, now remember, advanced eating is no symptoms, core eating is symptoms. Raise your hand if you think you should be doing advanced eating, raise your hand. Okay? Core eating, raise your hand. Nobody. See, it's crazy. And what happens, guys, for me, specifically, I know Dr. Andrew as well, there's times in your life where you're doing really good, and I'll transition over to core eating. All right? Then what happens? I start noticing things start flaring up again. Guess what I do? I transition back to advanced eating. And I do that for a while. I'm doing pretty good. Back over to core, back over to advanced. So it isn't meant to be a lifestyle. Core is meant to be a lifestyle, but it's so tough because there's so much crap food out there. All right? So next step number 4 in the process, you've got to choose your protein replacement. Okay, your meal replacement protein. So Dr. Andrew hit plant.
So the perfect plant protein. Now proteins are meant to be what we call a complete protein, which means they have a complete array of all the essential amino acids we need. Now there's not a single vegetable out there that is a complete protein. So our protein source, it has a variety. It has pea protein, hemp protein, and other plant proteins in it to still give you that complete protein. And it's also not inflammatory. So a lot of the plant proteins you're going to find out in the market, they're going to have soy in it. Soy is inflammatory, and it actually leads to estrogen-based cancers as well.
Okay, so plant. Number 2 would be whey proteins. Now again, as Dr. Andrew highlighted about the A2 cow, Our protein here in this office, the whey protein, comes from an A2 cow, which mimics human breast milk. It's non-grain, it's grass-fed, no grains, no pesticides, no herbicides. And the other critical element is high heat processing. Oftentimes, because there's so much garbage in this protein source, like from GNC or Sam's Club or even Vitamin Cottage, they have to cook the crap out of it to destroy all the protein, or destroy all the poisons, and in the process they damage the actual protein itself. So that's what's cool about getting your stuff here. You know it's guaranteed. Yes, ma'am.
Are cashews good? I've heard cashews weren't as good as the other nuts.
Cashew's not a nut, it's a legume. Okay? Now, when we lean into a legume or bean, okay? So here's something to remember about beans. Beans are a good source of protein, but they have in them something called a lectin. A lectin is a nutrient binder, okay? So when you do a bean source of any type, you put it in your pie hole, it binds up your nutrients and they end up going out in the poop chute. All right, so you're losing nutrients by doing beans. So how do you fix that? The best way to do it is pressure cook your beans. And then you break them down substantially and they'll be okay as a nutrient source. Like refried beans, organic refried beans are a good source. But whole beans aren't as good. And am I perfect? No, I had black beans last night.
So when it comes to cashews, you can do the same thing where you soak them and then you dehydrate them after that, so it breaks down some of
In the oven.
Yeah, so you just turn the oven like 150 on warm for a few hours and then dehydrate it. Or if you have a dehydrator, you can just use the dehydrator as well.
And what are we dehydrating in stuff?
The cashews.
Oh, okay.
So actually any nuts, it's better to actually soak them first to sprout them, and then you dehydrate them to break down any inflammatory compounds that can possibly be in there.
And that's true then of pecans too.
Pecans, almonds, everything.
Okay.
It's important just to dry them after you soak them.
Yeah, that's what we
And
do.
how long
And
do you
not just eat them kind of.
Yeah, so I put them in the, you
Okay.
How
dehydrate,
long are you soaking them?
usually about 24 hours.
In the fridge?
Yeah, we just leave them out the counter.
But do you like them crispy? Can you just leave them in your oven on low for a long time? I mean, or does that take away the nutrients?
It's not, it's, what it's gonna do is it's gonna denature the fat, so it's gonna create inflammatory fats out of it.
So not more than 2 hours.
Yeah, I would just do it, I would dehydrate it, lowest setting possible.
Okay, then they're not very crunchy.
I'm with you, girl. I'm with you.
Yeah, okay.
All right, guys, last one, Pure Path Protein. Dr. Andrew, hit him up on that.
So guys, this is my top protein. If you look at my closet, I have the chocolate one, the unflavored one, and the vanilla one in there at all times because it helps with healing the gut. It's also going to help with anti-inflammatory benefits. And who doesn't want sexy skin, sexy nails, and sexy hair, right? So guys, the collagen protein is going to help accomplish that. So this is my go-to. That's the one I recommend for everybody to take.
Okay, so let's hit, all right, that's over.
You said what? So it's going to come from a bone broth base. So what they take is the skins, the bone, the hooves. They then boil it down and create a powder.
Okay, so again, let's think about our steps, because guys, you got to be taking these action steps, right? So we said you've got to pick your nutrient or pick your eating plan. You all said advance in the whole room, right? You got to pick your protein. Which one of those three seems best for you? Now, again, as we're working through the process, we have to reclaim the gut. Okay, and it comes through the 3 R's, okay? And we're going to bust through this, but we're going to make it simple in the end, all right? We got to remove, we got to get rid of the critters that are bad, right? Weeds versus flowers. We need more flowers than weeds. We're going to have to remove it. What else? We got to repair the gut. Now, you can go to the apothecary, and they can take this licorice and the slippery elm and the other nutrients and make it into a formulary for you. You can have it all set up for yourself if you choose. Okay, we can go and get some digestive enzymes and make sure we're doing papaya and all the other things in your raw pineapple that's loaded with that stuff. And make sure you're eating adequate amounts of fiber, making sure you're eating all those omega-3 fatty acids. Then we have to re-inoculate the gut with the probiotic, and you get that through what? Where do you get probiotics from?
Dr. Ray.
Dr. Ray's office, right? You're sneaky. Not yogurt, right? The number one bacterial overgrowth we're seeing right now is what? The acidophilus from the yogurt that we're consuming. Because they found out the first probiotic they found was acidophilus. So the marketing machine went crazy and started flooding the market with acidophilus. Now acidophilus is out of balance, creating all kinds of other health problems. It's the balance, right? And that's why you need the broad spectrum probiotic and prebiotic. Who can tell me what a prebiotic is? Stuff that feeds the probiotic, right? So you can analyze that and figure that out. Go to the grocery store, buy the prebiotics, or you can make your life simple. Do the gut bundle. So that's going to be your next step. Today you're going to walk out with a gut bundle. Okay, what does that include? That includes the gut renew powder. That is going to repair the leaky gut. So Jackie can't bust through anymore. The gut's healed, all that toxic stuff, right? Then we're going to provide a probiotic, which is going to then form a lining to aid in the digestion process, creating the hormones and the enzymes that are necessary to break down food. The prebiotic is your pure path fiber and the digestive enzymes help augment and break down the food so the food doesn't end up in the large intestine and the bacteria grows up into SIBO and creates H. pylori and all those health challenges. Make sense? That's how you fix all this stuff, right? You gotta get your eating plan. You gotta make sure you pick your protein right. You gotta get your bundle going like that. Now, let's say, go please, Matthew.
So, because I know we're all not very good at this. I have a coworker that has leaky gut. I just don't know how convincing he is to fix those so continuous correct diet.
You know, what Matthew said, in case you didn't hear, said, would this help me if I eat a crappy diet? Guys, the answer is yes. All right. I remember one time a patient said to me, I smoke, should I detoxify? Let's think about this. I could toxify, or I could toxify and detoxify. Now, which one makes more logical sense? Now, the best thing is to put out the cigarette and just detox. But it's just logical. I mean, yeah. Can you get away with just supplementation? You guys, what I'm trying to tell everybody, you can't fix this with pills, supplements, or any other kind of pill, whether it's an antibiotic or anything else. This is a protocol to help you get through the process to get your body into health. So you're doing what? Eating core plan, right? And then maybe you got to go back to advance. Then you go back to core, and then back to it, and then you do some testing. Crap, man, now you did some supplementation, and you fix that. Okay, now I'm back on core again, and oh my gosh, I screwed up on my adjustments. I got in a car accident. I'm seeing 3 times a week back on my research. You know what I'm saying? This is how it works. This is called life.
When it comes to the digestive enzymes, if I'm traveling or going anywhere where I think that I'm going to be tempted to have a beverage or eat crappy food, I always have the digestive enzymes with me to consume before and after. And then I take the Max Cleanse in the morning and at night to help remove all the toxins out. Now, is that a reason to go out there and eat whatever you want? So that's for occasions, for those times when you can't choose.
Okay, makes sense? Now, let's say hypothetically, you guys are, everything we just talked about is making no sense to you because you're like, you know what, that ain't me at all, which is fine. That's great. That's what we're after. Now, what are you doing? You're doing your daily essentials, okay? What are now your lifetime supplements? Your daily essentials, okay? What is included in that? The Max Cleanse and your greens and your protein. So those are your lifetime, the fabulous 4 we call them. The fabulous 4 that you do forever, okay? Those are ones, I don't know, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do that. But for today, you should be thinking what we went through, and you should be saying, okay, this makes logical sense. I should do the gut thing, the gut protocol that Dr. Ray and Dr. Andrew highlighted, okay? So next we're going to chat up about toxins. Who can tell me? Oh, sorry.
I'm up.
I'm getting wound up, guys. Watch out.
Toxins in your gut. Glyphosate. Does anybody know what that is? The AKA for it is Roundup. So they spray it on your unorganic food and then you consume it. So if it kills bugs out on the farms, what is it doing? So that's the macrobiome. What is it doing to your microbiome? Killing the bugs. And what regrows? The good guys. When it comes to grains, for example, in order to harvest grains, they have to be dead. So what the brilliant farmers decided was if we just spray Roundup on all the grains, then we can harvest it all at one time instead of waiting for little chunks of the field to die off. BPA. What's BPA found in? Plastic. So if you're consuming stuff with plastics in it, now what was it, Sammy? 246? No,
245.
245. So those are the plastic numbers. Those are the ones that are safer. I'm not going to say safe because you should stay away from plastics in general. It's bad for the environment as well. So plastics have BPA in it. You consume that, and that creates toxicity. If you're constantly bombarding the gut with toxicity, it's going to create inflammation in leaky gut.
Real quickly, Andrew. Okay, how many people want some cancer? Raise your hand. Okay. You think estrogen-based cancers are probably the most epidemic in both men and women? Breast, prostate, uterine, ovarian, plastic. BPA is called an estrogen mimic. So it mimics estrogen. It plugs into the estrogen receptor sites, displacing the estrogen, leading to cancer. So guys, if you're a guy, no, you shouldn't be doing any kind of plastic anything, all right? Now, sometimes you bottle water, possibly, right? But you gotta watch out for those numbers on the bottom. Because what they've done is they've taken BPA and replaced it with something else, which is now finding is more cancer causing than the BPA. So just do stainless steel glass.
It's a marketing ploy stuff. They decided, oh, people caught on to this, we just put BPA-free on stuff, but it's rewarded with toxins. So stay away from the plastics.
I found out something about that. When Tupperware was first invented, it was a good plastic, and they used the good part of petroleum. They made a 100-year deal with petroleum companies to get this pure stuff to make their plastic. Everybody else trying to make up for it is who has to add all that nasty other stuff in there to stabilize it, because Tupperware got the deal to get all the good stuff right off the top for 100 years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then heavy metals. Heavy metals are going to lead to liver toxicity. The liver is part of the digestive system. If your body's not creating the bile it needs to, you're going to have chronic inflammation of the gut as well.
Where do the heavy metals come from? Vaccines? And what else?
Teeth,
Fillings.
your fillings.
What's considered a heavy metal?
So it's going to be your aluminum, your mercury,
Lead, cadmium, all of those things. And what do we dump in the ocean? What's another source of heavy metals?
mercury.
Oh, fish, warm water fish. Cold water fish are pure because we dump all that crap in the ocean and we're poisoning ourselves.
We also have plastics in them too.
See what I mean? So that's what we got to think about that because please go
What
ahead.
about our cast iron pans?
What about
Are they
Yeah.
heavy metals?
They're cast iron is good.
cast iron is iron. And what is iron hooked to? Globin, which becomes hemoglobin, which we use to carry oxygen. So that cast iron is not a heavy metal. Heavy metals are things that. Yeah, cast iron is heavy. Don't get me wrong. Heavy metal has to do with the way the metal is. The chemical makeup of it causes it heavy. Heavy, the molecular structure of the metal. That's what it is. Okay, and heavy metals are things that are man-made. Okay, they're things that like iron is not man-made. Okay, it's actually a baseline chemical. But when you look at the periodic chart of elements, cadmium's in there, lead's in there. Those are the things we manufacture. Like aluminum, for example, silica, which is sand. If you eat sand, it's great for digestion. So you're on the beach, right? That gets in there, you're going to eat that. It helps with digestion. But if you take silica and process it, it becomes aluminum. And now it's bad for us.
And that's in a lot of fillers and all the stuff
Deodorants.
that you say that people say it's good for you, silicas and all of it. 'Cause
But silica's
literally
okay.
trying to
It's
stay
the
away from it. It's
aluminum
not.
that's been processed that is heavy. Go ahead.
So before 1978, paints and gas, like when we were kids growing up, we all ingested and breathed a bunch of lead because it wasn't discovered. So I have heard that causes like but memory problems, like it's connected to Alzheimer's. Have you heard that?
Crosses through the blood-brain
And so
barrier.
how do you get rid of that now if like we kind of were raised around all that?
That's a great question. Maybe we should test and find if you have blood toxicity, which is part of the metabolomics program. Great one. Thank you for that. I paid her for that. All right. So think about this, because this program isn't about liver, is it? Because liver is the one that we're talking about detoxifying these elements. But if the liver's broken, what it's going to do is it's going to dump the poison into the gut and lead you down the path of leaky gut. So let's talk a little bit about liver. So step 6, we've got to fix those liver detoxification pathways. There's 2 phases or conjugation pathways. The first one is called the cytochrome P450 system. Now I said this before, but there's some new people in the room. When the body takes poison initially, it turns it into a poison ball inside the bloodstream. Why? Put your arm in the air for me, Matthew. Okay? If I got a protein ball, a poison ball, and I touch this spot of Matthew, where's the problem going to be? Right where it touched. Now, if I take this and dilute it into 1 million particles, what's it going to touch? Everything. So the body's smart. It takes the poison ball, and puts it into the liver. Now the liver goes, I can't deal with this, it's too big. So it crushes it. The cytochrome P450 crushes the poison, making it into a super poison. Now it's coalesced within the liver, so it isn't free to float around the body. The liver is designed for this. So then it goes into the second lobe of the liver, which is phase 2. And what that does is neutralizes those poisons in 5 different factories that dumps into the gut, neutralized, and then you poop it out. Back to poop again. Right? Makes sense? Now, if the cytochrome is it works, usually the cytochrome, the first lobe works pretty good. It's the second lobe that gets damaged, and these microparticles end up dumping into the gut, damaging all those little junctions, and our leaky gut explodes, and everyone's going to pack all. We can go back and start over if you like, go back into the leaky gut again, right? So, the major problem, the phase 2 blockers, these are the things we eat, breathe, and touch. We don't even know we're doing it, right? My favorite line is you clean your counter with Formula 409, you wipe it down, it looks pretty good to me. You throw your meat on the counter, what'd you just do? You just toxified your meat. Oh, I took my organic grass-fed beef and you ruined it, right? So we have to make sure. And it comes down to toxic bioaccumulation, right? It's not one soda pop with aspartame in it that gets you. It's the 500 soda pops, plus the toxic meat, plus the toxin, plus the vaccination, plus the amalgam fillings, plus the air pollution, plus the tailpipe, plus the dust, plus the GMO, plus the that leads us down the path of disease. So the idea of detoxification pathways, you gotta fix this. Number 7, so the greens is huge for this. The greens will help provide all the nutrients that are necessary. The Clearvite boosts the cytochrome P450, the first lobe of the liver. And the second one is the hepatosynergy, which is a packet of 4 different supplements. Each one is for a different factory in the second lobe of the liver. Isn't that cool? So now we got to detoxify, or just support liver function basically, so your gut doesn't get damaged. All right? So Clearvite is a phase 1 protector. Phase 2 is going to be your hepatosynergy. Right on? Dr. Andrew, you're up.
All right, guys. Let's talk about the new program we have, Max Metabolomics. Now, when I was in chiropractic school, I was preparing to go into the world of functional medicine, along with chiropractic, which meant I had to learn all the blood tests. But then blood tests only give you a certain snapshot of what's going on. So if I wanted a leaky gut, I would then have to get a stool sample. Well, what if I want to see what's going on with the adrenals? Well, then I need a salivary test. I needed all these different tests to give a snapshot. But then I found out about something called the organic acid test, which is what we utilize in here at urine testing. You guys have done. That gives us a snapshot on the whole system, all the metabolic functioning, so I can see how you're working as a human. Does that make sense? When it comes to the gut function of it, is it's telling you if you have SIBO, for example. It's going to give some upper gut stuff. As far as the stool samples, are going to tell us about lower gut. Well, then it's also missing some stuff. The metabolomics is filling all of these gaps here, guys. So the fatty acid profile. We want omega-3s or omega-6s with this. But we want both, but we want to have it at about a 3-to-1 ratio. Right now we're at about a 32-to-1. So don't you want to see where you fall underneath that line there if you're inflammatory or anti-inflammatory? So the fatty acid profile, it's going to tell us if you have the adequate fatty acids that we want for health. It's also going to tell us if you have any toxicity buildup. Now, the old test, it would tell us just if you had toxicity. But it wouldn't tell us what specific toxins. So if you did have lead toxicity or aluminum toxicity that's linked to Alzheimer's. So this test is giving us a snapshot of not only the organic acid metabolites, but also it's going to tell us about fatty acids, it's going to tell us about toxicity, and then we can also get some genetics snippets with that as well too. So maybe you shouldn't be consuming cashews or consuming different foods. It's going to have the gene testing along with it as well. So guys, as I highlighted here, it's telling us about the broken pathways, the missing vitamins. The new one, the blood testing, all that stuff. Now guys, the reason we're doing this is because you have to test. Now, normally, if you guys go to the Genova website right now, $2,009 is what they're recommending you pay for this.
So the metabolomics program, go online, look it up, look up Genova, and check out this particular test we're going to be doing for you guys. That's their retail price on it right there, $2,009.
That doesn't include any supplements.
It's just the testing, okay? Now, our standard fee, the new metabolomics program is going to be $599, okay? Now, this is never going to be seen at the Love My Gut special. It's $250 off. So basically, it's going to be $349. And I'm going to encourage you guys to get that testing, okay? Try to get it online. You're going to get it for $2,000. After today, the price goes up to $599. So get the testing today. We've been hitting it hard about the testing because we said, number one, we got dialed in. That's why we do seminars. Number two, we got the chiropractic dialed in. We got the fitness dialed in. Where we struggled with is the nutrition and detox. This is the final piece. Now, it may change again as we learn more science, but it's getting better and better and better. So get the testing, let's see where you're at, and let's develop that strategy. So let's walk through it one more time, right? You're going to do the LRQ, fill that bugger out, then you're going to do your 7-day food diary for me and submit that, and we're going to sit down and review, all right? It takes 4 weeks to get the metabolomics program back in. So we're going to do the gut challenge, then we're going to run the LRQ, customized, then we're going to do the metabolomics and customize even more. Do you see how it works? So that's the process we're going to be going through. So again, just to review protocols, okay? So the way it works, okay? You're going to do your lifetime supplements outside of a protocol. So today is going to be a gut protocol. So do you take your lifetime supplements during the protocol for gut today? No, you do not. Okay, because you're going to overload the system. It won't be able to absorb all the nutrients. You're making very, very expensive poop and urine. Okay, we want that stuff in our bodies. So protocol supplements only during a protocol. No lifetime supplements. None of the fabulous four. Okay, you follow me? So during a protocol, we're going to run a test, and you're going to do your protocol supplements until they're gone. Do you buy more protocol supplements? Absolutely not. They're for short-term burst. So we run a test, we find out what you need, we give it to you until it's fixed, and we go on to the back into lifetime and run another test. Do you see how it works? So we just work through the process, protocol test, lifetime supplements. Protocol test, lifetime supplements. Protocol test, lifetime supplements, until you get to the end, and now you just do your lifetime supplements. And you do something dumb, like go to a party and drink too much white wine, and next thing you know, maybe I should check out my toxicity panel. You see, that's just life, right? But then when you're on your lifetime supplements at that point. Now, some patients, you know what, Dr. Ray, you're talking, I don't have that kind of dough. Well, guess what? The LRQ is free. The diet log is free. That's a good start. Just doing the protocol, if everything we said makes sense, do it. It makes logical sense. It's okay. Okay? So what do? I'm going to go slower. It's okay to go slow. This is a Chiropractic Plus's program is what kind of a program? A lifetime program. This isn't short term. They're going to fix you and keep you healthy for the rest of your life. That's what it's about. So sometimes you got to go slower, right? Do a little slower. Take your protocol and break it down into smaller chunks. So you do the first supplement, right? That's all I can afford, doctor. I can do the testing in one supplement. Good job. And then when that supplement bottle is empty, what do? Buy the next bottle. Then what? The next bottle. And the next bottle. And the next bottle. That's how you do it. But when is the best time to buy your supplements? Who can answer that question? During programs like this when they're on sale. If you want to pay retail, that's fine with me. Grab a bottle tomorrow on Monday morning and buy it all on Monday. It's going to be full price. Get it at the discount program by coming to the event seminar. So you just do that again and again and again until we get you through to the healthy levels, and sometimes it takes a little more time. So what, right? But do it, do something. Don't do nothing. Information without action is a complete waste of time. Okay, so let's review your steps. Download, submit your lifestyle questionnaire. There's the QR reader. If you want to use this one, there's one in your packet as well. Complete your 7-day diary. Submit that blog for the doctors. Choose your eating plan, advanced or core. You all chose advanced. Okay, choose your meal replacement, whey, protein, or plant. I'm sorry, bone, whey, or plant. Excuse me. Pick up your gut healing bundle. Pick up the liver bundle. Pick up your new metabolics kit and submit it to the lab. When you get it, I want you to pee in the cup and get it to, and do your finger prick and all the parts to it, and I want you to get it in on Monday. Why? It takes 4 full weeks to get all the testing results back because of the different protocols they have to do to work through that process. So get it to the lab quickly. Begin your eating plan. This is fun. We're having a good time and everybody's excited. You go home and say, I don't think I want to do my eating plan. I think I'm just skip food log. I'm going to wait for eating healthier. You guys all do that to yourself. I'm going to submit my log after I start eating healthy. And Dr. Mandela, thank you so much. Okay? So begin your liver or your gut supplements or your lifetime supplements, wherever you're at. And once we receive your LRQ results, the lifestyle risk questionnaire results, schedule an appointment for the doctors to review the results. And we'll work through this process for you. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's what it's all about. Okay, guys, we're going to take a break. All right? Because this is a makeover. This is not the quick fix, in and out kind of seminar.